Right, I am full of the cold, and my voice is absolutely buckled. So this is the perfect time to listen to Avery Wilson. I'm not going to be able to do anything. Let's go. Hello, wonderful humans of the internet, how are we? My name is Sam Scott-Thorne and I am a vocal coach based in Glasgow. Now, if you'd like to meet and explore your voice a little more, you can find me on sstvocals.com. You can also find me on Patreon and various other social media platforms, and I'll put the handles down below and over there. Over there. It's just very low. That's all I've got. Now, if you'd like to consider becoming a patron, you have access to things like early release of reactions, you can fast track reactions, become a reaction, there's special roles on my Discord server, and you have access to all sorts of bonus content like my Vocal Anatomy 101 series, wee rants, outtakes, loads of stuff. So consider becoming a patron and help shape my channel. Just like Derek Peterson did. He has fast tracked a reaction. He wants me to listen to Avery Wilson doing Can We Talk by Tevin Campbell. Now, I love Avery Wilson. He is a wizard. Not sure he's human. Just insane vocalist. I don't think I've heard this though. So, we're going to go and take a listen and see what we think. Can we talk for a minute? Girl, I want to know your name. Can we talk? No, we can't talk.
Last night I saw you standing. I started pretending that I knew you knew me too.
Okay, super delicious start. Very, very aspirate. A wee bit more air coming through the folds than normally would. That gives you that kind of airy, aspirate, wispy tone. Just really, really nice. There's gonna be a lot of riffs in this. Just going off of what I know of Avery, he is super agile with his riffs, melismas, runs, whatever you want to call them. So there'll be a lot of that. There's been a few wee tasteful ones here. Almost taken like a key shift kind of approach. It pushes it into a place that it wouldn't necessarily naturally go. Just a very clever use of his voice. Also, that is Stevie Mackey sitting in the background. Stevie Mackey is a celebrity vocal coach and he is fantastic. Go and watch him on Terrell's channel. I'll link it if I can remember. And watch all the stuff he says about coaching. I agree 100% with. It's all about being able to listen properly. In order to be a good coach, you have to have a good ear. And he's got a great ear. Okay, let's keep going.
And just like a lonely, you were too shy, but you were the only one, so was I. And I dreamed of you ever since, and how I built up my confidence. Last time you caught my way, I know just what to say.
Okay. Oh, goodness me, Avery. Right. So, also, I think I saw Amber Riley from Glee there. I'm pretty sure this is Stevie Mackey's house, and he does all of these, like, gatherings where everyone just comes and sings their butts off. So there's probably more to go. Send me links from more of these if you want to. Now, you'll hear Avery has this really remarkable ability to take his voice up in a really full kind of configuration. His mix sounds super, super loud, even when he's in places where your vocal folds are stretching, and they want to get thinner. Your vocal folds operate on like a mass model. So there's a 2-mass model, which is your chest voice. It kind of undulates at the bottom and the top as the air goes through. But there's also thin, which is where it just meets at the top edge. Now, as you get higher into your range, your vocal folds will want to go from this to this, just because there's less body for it to work with. But Avery manages to keep his fold phonation quite thick throughout. I'm thinking that it is a combination of a thin fold and a twang, which is where he's basically using his epiglottis to kind of push back on the folds from the top end, and that will bolster the sound. It will thicken up the tone that he is using. So it could be a number of things. But you heard he went and kind of went up into a much more airy kind of place. Not so sure that it was a falsetto yet, because falsetto is pretty hooty, and that didn't sound quite hooty enough, but he was definitely letting those folds thin out to make a lighter sound. He's just got such great control. Sorry, that was probably very, very wordy, but if you want to know more, go and check out my Patreon. Ridiculous, that riff.
I started to write you letters, but I wanted to be more clever. I wanted to get down and sweet talk you.
Oh, that was amazing. That's what I'm talking about, when he puts his voice and shifts a riff into a completely different place where you would imagine it would go. That went into a completely minor sound. A minor as in sad kind of sounding. You just weren't expecting that. Absolutely amazing. His riffing is like second to none. I have seen people that can riff for days struggle with Avery Wilson's riffs, because he is just so agile. I'm not even going to attempt them, I'll tell you that much. Not today. Not today, Satan. I am not attempting those riffs. He utilizes the character of his voice in loads and loads of different ways. Like, there's lots of kind of hey, like throwing of his voice, which kind of gives you this kind of swell at the beginning, and then it kind of peters out. It gives you this really, really effortless vibe, but has so much power and bite to the start of it. Just, I cannot tell you how good he is. I'll be here for days. I can't deal with this. Oh my goodness. Derek, are you trying to kill me? You just want to watch me die on screen? That's fun. I love the reaction of the crowd that are watching him. He is clearly so talented that even a room full of super talented people are gobsmacked with what he's coming away with. You'll notice there's a little bit of anchoring on some of these phrases, especially when it gets more intense. You'll see he kind of like lifts his leg and his whole body kind of just steadies for that sound. Now, when we're doing more intense voicing, we need to support the sound. If you just try and belt, or even this kind of like heavier mix up into the top of your range, and you don't support the sound, it will not happen. It will just kind of, your voice will break, it'll sound really bad. Now, we use anchors in order to stabilize these sounds. You've got sets of anchors. You've got your torso anchors, which are in the main part of your body, pecs and down your back, and that kind of squeezing onto that sound allows you to push the sound from here without putting the effort up here. You spread the effort out of the road, and you'll get a much stronger, more kind of bolstered and set sound. Also, you've got neck anchors for those kind of higher points. That's your sternocleidomastoids, which is this big rope muscle that runs down behind your ear here. Occipital muscles, which are up in the back of the skull here, and also muscles in the velum as well. So if we can kind of engage them too, again, you're steadying that sound. The big muscles are doing the work, so the little muscles inside your larynx don't have to work so hard. Fantastic.
Can we talk for a minute? Sing, girl, I want to know your name. Sing, girl, I want to know your name. Oh, girl.
Is he going up? Oh, he's modulated up. I'm not ready. If you listen to some of his higher work, the work in his higher range, you can hear sometimes it's quite bore down on and it's quite laboured, and you can hear a little bit of that tension sneaking in because it's loud. He's thickening that sound up. At other points, you can hear he lets go. And because his voice is very twangy, it still sounds really loud, but you don't have that kind of meat behind it. So I feel like he knows when it gets so high, he has to let those folds thin out a little bit more than he maybe wants to. You have to kind of sacrifice a bit of the volume for stability. The last two big high notes he did, I think one was like full on with the bite, and one was a little bit like kind of less thick, a wee bit thinner, and it just soared a little bit nicer. I mean, I'm splitting hairs here because you cannot really fault Avery. Not that that was a fault, I'm just explaining the difference in the way he sings. Again, riff-tastic. I can't even comment on the riffs. They're so good, so fast, and so plentiful. If I had to stop at every riff, I'd be like 50 by the time I finish this video. Let's keep going. Okay, so those riffs, those first ones, the ones where my soul left my body, I cannot tell you how good he is. He plays his voice like a guitar, like the person that does all the solos on the guitar, you know, not rhythm, like proper lick-tastic. He has this really, really good knack of guiding the song through his voice, and usually a voice will kind of follow what's going on behind it. Not in this case, you're following him. He's even kind of switching up the way he's riffing. He's kind of blending some of them down now, so they're not as glottal. There's not so much differentiation between the notes. It's a bit more kind of smooth. That probably sounded awful, but meh. Just speechless.
My God.
Okay, I know I'm pausing a lot, but there was a falsetto in there, right? So falsetto is where your vocal folds behave differently. It's not the same as your head voice. Head voice is where your vocal folds thin out, but they're still vibrating like this, like we talked about earlier. Falsetto is more like this. Your vocal folds kind of make a gap at the back end, so air is coming through, and it's kind of whistling past and making that whoo, whoo, whoo kind of sound. You could tell because you can't take your falsetto too far down your range. Eventually your folds are going to want to come back together, and that's kind of what happened there. It kind of went into a heavier place, and there was a little break between those 2 points. So that makes me think that he is using falsetto in some places, but I feel like he relies on his head voice more than his falsetto. But either way, smashing.
I wanna know your name, your name, your name. I wanna know your name, your name.
Imagine being in a room of people and just going, I'm gonna make this up, and then they come back to you like a gospel choir. The range of voices in that room is incredible, and they're splitting into harmonies, and they've got sections going on, and that's all off the cuff. Like the talent, I cannot.
Your name, can we talk?
Wow.
Can we talk for a minute? Girl, your name.
Right. How dare he? How dare he? How dare he? The audacity of just cutting out with that. That isn't speechless. Not many people get me speechless, but Avery is definitely on that list. And he's one of these people that are criminally underrated. Like, I want to see arrests. Criminally underrated. Like him along with like Yeba and Jasmine Sullivan and all these like super agile voices and voice users. Just so underappreciated. We need more. So yeah, thank you Derek Peterson for melting my brain. Apologies it took so long to get to this as well. It's just been heat waves and school holidays and illness and but anyway, thank you for waiting, and I hope you enjoyed it. And if you enjoyed it, then give it a wee like and a thumbs up down below, and if you want to see more from me, hit subscribe, ring the bell, and anytime I have new content, you will be the first to know. So I guess all that's left for me to say is thank you so much for joining me. And how are we going to buy this one? I don't know, because my voice really isn't working properly. I am quite ill. So I guess all that's left for me to say is thank you so much for joining me, and think. If you watched for a minute, then I want to see your name in my subs list, and I hope you will remain. Oh, that took a lot of effort, let me tell you. Bye.